Welcome to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast, dedicated to exploring the interesting journeys of the people in the provincial construction industry. Presented by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association, produced by Gale Force Winds. Join us as we chat with the inspirational individuals that ensure the continued growth of the construction industry and the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Welcome to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast. I'm Alan Dale. With me, as always, my good buddy, Jerry Carew, and I can tell you what a privilege it is to be talking to folks here today. Today is the Women in Construction Day, and their theme is We Are Stronger Together, and that is so true. The conversations that we've had today are truly inspirational. Good things are happening in Newfoundland and Labrador. Good things are happening in this association. Good things are happening in this hotel right now. Great conversations. Can't wait to get into the next one. Sahaba, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sahaba. I'm Moroccan, but I grew up in the United Arab Emirates. I've been in Canada since 2017. I was in high school in Toronto, and then I moved here for Memorial University. I studied sociology and linguistics, and I work part-time at TD.
So, Sahaba, you grew up in the UAE. What brought you to Canada? Did the family move to Canada, or did you?
No, I moved by myself when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
Wow.
I came here on a scholarship, so I went to high school in Toronto for 2 years. After my graduation, I moved here.
And then you picked Memorial University.
Yes.
Why
it
did
was
you pick
that
MUN?
or Nova Scotia, and I was like, Memorial. I'll stick to Memorial.
But what about MUN intrigued you at the time?
To be quite honest, I had my pick at universities, but it was a province that I've never heard of, and that I didn't even know existed until like a year into me living in Canada. And I was like, this looks like a really interesting geographic area. So I was like, yeah, I should move.
Well, you're right about that. It's a very interesting geographic area, for sure. But it's also a wonderful place, and the people here are amazing. Would you agree?
Yes, I would. Yeah, it's very charming. It has a very charming vibe to it.
Now, you got off the plane and you were in Newfoundland. What did you think when you first hit the ground?
When I first hit the ground, I got in the cab. I thought I spoke English, but boy, was I wrong.
There's a different type of English here.
It is absolutely a different type of English, which I found really interesting as a student of linguistics. It's a dialect I've never heard of. So my first reaction was, oh my God, this sounds like an Irish accent mixed with like a Southern American accent, which is a combination I've never even thought of.
Right.
So I found that definitely one of the most intriguing things about Newfoundland.
So you start studying at MUN, linguistics and
Sociology.
Linguistics and sociology, great combination for sure. So linguistics and sociology, but I noticed you're wearing a TD badge. Tell me about that.
I recently, in May, I started working for TD. I've always been interested in finance and financial matters, and the opportunity showed up one day and I took it.
So you jumped in, so you have a part-time job at TD?
Yes, I do.
And you're going to school full-time. What year are you in?
This is going to be my 4th year.
4th year, so graduating this year.
Probably.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Is there any more studies in your future beyond that, do you think?
Maybe there could be. I'm not quite sure exactly what I want to do. There's a lot of things that I'm definitely interested in and very passionate about. So it's going to take some time for me to sort of like narrow it down and choose a specific niche, you might say. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but definitely I would love to eventually work my way up to a PhD.
So, but you strike me as a person, no matter what direction you go, you're going to be successful.
I'd hope so.
So, Sahaba, tell me about where did your intersection with the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association happen?
I get a message from my manager. She gives me a call. She tells me, listen, last week you spoke to a lady, Rhonda. She happens to be associated with the NLCA, and she wants you to come to this event. She really liked you. And I was like, sure. I mean, yes, I will absolutely be there.
Did you, well, I'm certain you didn't, but in the moment when you were providing advice and some help, maybe going a little bit extra out of your way to help somebody, did you ever think that that would turn into being up on stage and
No.
speaking the next week?
Absolutely not. That was not like, it was not. Honestly, the day I went into work, I was extremely tired and I was feeling sick. I was so close to calling in sick.
Right.
And I went to work anyway, and that happened.
Yeah.
So it was like just an amazing coincidence.
You never know who's standing in front of you. And when you say someone has an association with the NLCA, she's running the
NLCA, yes.
And she got you on this podcast today because she was so impressed with you and what you did for her daughters,
Yeah.
the advice you gave them. So, you know, you're on a very, very great trajectory, I can tell.
Thank you.
Well, 100% right. I mean, Rhonda was inspired by you, right? And that's pretty impressive, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So, which is great. And that's what this is all about, quite honest. The podcast is all about being in conversation with people to inspire people to do good things, right? Today, we're in conversation today, and it's about women in construction, and it's about inspiring people. It's about showing pathways that exist. And you're one of those people that out of the blue do something great
Yeah.
for somebody, and here you are telling your story. And I think that that's a wonderful thing. So you've now been introduced to the NLCA. Are you familiar with their kind of what they do, or
I am.
how involved they are?
I am not very familiar
Yeah.
with the NLCA specifically, although I was my father's like right hand when we were building our house back in Morocco.
Okay.
He ran everything by me. Keep in mind, I was like 12, 13 years old. But he would always like, until today, he still calls me, asks for my advice as if I know much, or asks for my opinions, you like the style, or just gives me updates. So I am kind of interested in construction because of that.
Right.
But I don't really know much about the NLCA, to be quite honest.
I have a feeling over the fullness of time you will. I have a feeling
Probably.
that
Oh,
they're-
absolutely. I'm going home and Googling this.
But you're only here about an hour and a half right now.
Yes.
So you're sitting in a room. We plucked you out of the seat and put you in front of the camera. So, you know, talking about being resilient.
No, I love your approach and saying yes. Like, I'll do that. I'll try that.
Yeah,
I'll give it a
absolutely.
go.
Why not?
Yeah, of course. But that's a wonderful approach on life. Wouldn't you agree? Just say
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Give it a try.
Absolutely, yes. Why not? What do you have to lose, you know?
Yeah, and you're quite good proof of that, right? At 16, you said, yeah, Toronto? Yeah, sure. I'll give
Yeah,
that
sure,
a go.
I'll come.
Newfoundland? I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
And look at you now.
Yeah, and it's you know, you won't always have a good experience, but what matters is the experience, regardless of the emotional quality.
100%.
At the end of the day, it's good. You get some serotonin out of that. It's bad. You get a lesson out of that, you know?
I love that.
How true that is, right? You will
Yeah.
learn something from everything, right?
Absolutely.
If you're open to learning from it, right?
Yes.
That's so fantastic. So, you know, we, on our normal podcast, we ask our guests to leave the audience with a piece of advice, something that you hold true and that you'd like to pass on to people. What would a piece of advice be from you?
Always be authentic, be true to yourself. And I don't mean this in like the cliche way, but I mean it in the be genuine in whatever it is you do. And I am proof of that literally by the interaction I had with Rhonda. The only reason it was a good interaction and an interaction she remembered is because that's how I am with all customers that I see. I'm always trying to go on above and beyond for whoever is in front of me, and trying to help them in any way that I can possibly. So that's one thing, and the other thing is jump into things. Worst case, always think about the worst case scenario. It's not that bad. Even if it happens, you'll be okay.
What do you think, Jerry?
Pretty good. Sorry, I was distracted by someone talking very loudly there, but I can tell you this, the positive vibe that's just emanating from you. I'm so happy that you went to work that day so that Alan and I had a chance to meet you.
Yes.
I think your mom and dad will be very proud of seeing you. We will have this video ready sometime today, and you can send it to them.
Absolutely, they'd be delighted.
Well, what a wonderful conversation right here on the Building Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association podcast. Sahaba, I have to tell you, I'm very impressed with you
Thank
as
you.
a person. I'm very impressed with what you did for Rhonda, and
Thank
impressed that you chose to be a part of this here today. You're making a difference already in the world, and we certainly appreciate that. So thanks for being in the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Shukran.
Thank you for tuning in to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast, presented by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association, produced by Gale Force Winds.